I'm just gonna say it. I'm pretty sick of NFTs. I just want them to go away. If you have followed me on other platforms, you've seen me rant a little bit about NFTs here and there. Whenever I do, it's inevitable that people ask, what's your beef with NFTs? Why don't you like NFTs? And that answer does not fit nicely into a tweet. If only I had access to a platform that hosted long-form video. I really think that the opinion you have about NFTs probably has a lot to do with how you first heard of them. The first time I had ever heard of an NFT was early last year when digital artists whose careers I have followed for a long time, sometimes decades, were all of a sudden making serious cash by auctioning off their digital art. The big name, the guy who made lots and lots of money was Beeple. That one is obvious, but there are so many more out there. People like Joshua Davis, people like G-Monk. These are web designers and digital artists who I have been following since the very beginning of my career. And there are also working designers and artists working day jobs and doing work for clients. And all of a sudden, they're making the kind of money on their art that that I think they deserve. If you're at the top of your game, you should be paid like it. But that never happens. Like, rule number 2 of capitalism is shaft the creator. It's right after Hold Fancy Pool Party at Leonardo DiCaprio's house. So to me, artists getting paid was my North Star. That was the thing about NFTs that I clung on to immediately. And as wave after wave of doubt would creep in, I would always go back to that. Hey, some artists are getting paid. And I hung on to that for a while, probably too long. For me, that doubt came in the form of my email inbox and my Instagram DMs and YouTube comments. So last year, around this time, I made a video just explaining what the heck NFTs were. I didn't know what they were. I was doing research. Many of you didn't know what they were. That video did pretty well. And from that point on, every money-grubbing, half-assed, poorly conceived, procedurally generated, ill-prepared NFT project on planet Earth landed in my email inbox. David Hasselhoff plays a Roman warrior god in this limited run NFT comic book project. That's not a joke, by the way. That's an actual project that came into my inbox. The stuff out there, you guys, you just have no idea. I mean, I get a lot of bad products like falling into my inbox too, people wanting me to review, you know, their USB hub or whatever, but most of the products that land in my inbox are at least legitimate products. They may not fit on my channel, and that's why I say no, but they're not bad. Anyway, going back to that original video, I had 3 concerns about NFTs. Reasons I wasn't comfortable launching my own NFT project or going all in on promoting friends' projects on Twitter or here on YouTube. Number 1 was the environmental impact. More on that in a bit. Number 2 is the speculative nature. I think they were, and they still are, really overpriced for what they are. I didn't want to encourage anyone to buy something that was going to drop in value. That's not financial advice. That's just what I think is going to happen over time. And the third reason that gave me pause were the gas prices. If you mint an NFT on Ethereum, you have to pay to use the network. So I didn't want to go out there and tell people, hey, this is your opportunity to make big bucks making NFTs, because if you make a bunch of NFTs, you're going to pay that gas price. And if they don't sell, then you lose money. And I thought that's just bad advice. And people are going to comment, you can get around the gas fees. I get it. My point is, at the time, those were the 3 reasons. So when any kind of like marketplace or sponsor would approach me in my videos, those were the 3 reasons I gave them as to why I was saying no to their promotion. And after a while, one marketplace countered and said, look, we can mint on non-proof of work networks. And basically what that means is those are far more environmentally friendly. They also said, we cover the gas prices of all newly minted NFTs. That's kind of nice. And they were cool with me just not pumping the investment side of the marketplace. And all of this is in the context of last summer, where I felt like an old man who was shouting at clouds when I was saying no to all this stuff. My previous job, web designer, UX designer, whatever my job title was, I got started way back in like the 2000s. And back in those days, the web was pretty new. And so there were all these old graphic designers who were designing websites. And almost all of them hated it. They just hated working on websites. They're like, why don't clients want trifold brochures? I would just look at these people and be like, you don't get it. This is the future. This is cool. This is fun. I ended up building my career on being the designer who embraced tech, the designer who embraced social media, a designer who really liked working with developers, not against them. So now today, I'm the age now that those designers were back then. And I'm wondering, have I turned into the fuddy-duddy who just doesn't like the new tech? Is it just because I'm seeing all these stupid products hit my inbox that this is biasing me against NFTs? Do I just not get it? I mean, mean, I'm old now. There are a lot of things I don't get. I don't get the Island Boys. What even is this? What are they doing? And of course, as time marches on, everybody's supporting NFTs. Adobe's adding NFT support to their products. Disney's making NFTs. The NBA is making NFTs. The Island Boys are making NFTs because, of course, they are. And artists are getting paid. So I ended up taking the sponsorship, and wow, was the comment section... was it fire? And I'm not talking about the good kind of fire like, yo, that song is fire. I'm talking like the bad kind of fire like, dude, your house is like on fire. And of course, my first response is just the natural defensive mechanism like, no, you guys don't understand. Not all NFTs are bad. But over the next couple days, as it had time to sink in and I was able to collect my thoughts, I kind of felt a little relieved. For months, I felt like I was the only one out there who was like, I don't know about this. And that my personal NFT hesitancy was just something that I needed to learn how to get over. So even though in that moment I felt pretty stupid, I was kind of relieved that I wasn't alone out there. Also, keep in mind, this was before video game companies realized that they could goose their stock price by putting out a press release with the letters N, F, and T in it. Say what you want about gamers, they know an ugly cash grab when they see one. But the thing that really jumped out to me in those comments were how passionate people were about one particular topic that I hadn't really considered: art theft. I knew that art theft was a thing, and it happens all the time, and it absolutely sucks. There are people that I know personally that have to search Amazon on a regular basis to find artwork of theirs that people have printed on pillows or socks or anything your dog wants to chew up. What I didn't realize at that time was how bad art theft was starting to get in the NFT space. It's legit. Here are some stats from Deviantart. So every week, Deviantart goes out and they scan millions and millions of NFTs. And what they are doing is they are looking for matches with pieces of artwork that already exist on the Deviantart site. If they find a match, they alert the artist and they say, hey, if you didn't make this, you should know about it. Because there's nothing out there that stops somebody from just right-clicking on a JPEG and then posting it there as an NFT to sell and claiming it as their own. So Deviantart says that there was a 30% increase in art theft on their site between September and October of 2021. But from the beginning of October to the end of the month, there was a 100% increase. And again, from November to mid-December, there was a 300% increase over that. God only knows what it is now, but just scanning my Twitter feed on a daily basis, it's bad. And when you start to see that, it gets really hard to go back to that, but artists were making money argument. When for every artist that you know who's making a few bucks, there are hundreds, if not thousands, who are being scammed on a daily basis. And for many, if not most creators, this is their introduction to NFTs. Your work is being taken, stolen, and sold without your knowledge for quite a bit of money. Or your friend's work is being stolen and sold. Or artists you know and have loved for years, their work is being stolen. Of course, people are gonna have a negative reaction to that. That's the normal human response. You're gonna be angry if it happens to you. You're gonna be angry if it happens to an artist you admire. Think of it this way. If every person I knew that had ever gone to a baseball game had gotten mugged while going to the game, I would not be out there telling people to go to baseball games. Is it the baseball team's fault that you got mugged? No. But at the same time, you shouldn't expect people to get excited about baseball either if that's the experience. That baseball team didn't make the problem, but that doesn't mean it's not their problem. If that team wants more fans to show up to games, they're gonna need to hire some security guards. Maybe investigate how these muggers are getting into the game. Is this an inside job? Where are our security holes? Maybe install some of those fancy pants cameras. Here's a novel idea. If someone is caught mugging someone at your game, maybe you don't let them back in tomorrow. Just a thought. Oh, stop complaining, Brad. NFT sites give you an online form where you can tell them you got mugged and point to the mugger. And if they like how you filled out the form, you might get some time-consuming hoops to jump through that may or may not help. What makes this even crazier is that in recent weeks on Twitter, artists, high-profile artists who have said, don't buy these NFTs, I haven't made them, someone else did, they are fake, are all of a sudden receiving DMs from fake accounts claiming to be OpenSea customer support trying to help them. But it's really just run by more scammers who are trying to double scam them. Just take a deep breath, Brad. You got this. There will always be scammers. But let's take a look at Amazon. They've had scammer problems in the past, but they take it very seriously, and they've been able to cut down on the problem by raising the barrier to entry. I sell t-shirts on Amazon, and I could take someone else's IP, slap it on my t-shirt, and be selling it in a few hours. There is an approval process for t-shirt designs, so someone is actually checking that. So if I throw something Captain America related or a Mickey Mouse thing on a t-shirt, you know, that stuff's going to be caught right away. But smaller IPs, those are a heck of a lot easier to slip by. So if a t-shirt does go up that has somebody else's IP on it, the owner has the ability to file a complaint. And as soon as they do, boom, that's pulled from the marketplace. That is not sold until that complaint is settled and is decided upon. And if they realize that you stole that IP, all the money you've made from that product ends up going to the actual IP owner, not you. And more likely than not, your Amazon seller's account will be closed at that point. You may get off with a warning, but Amazon doesn't want to put up with your garbage. And Amazon makes it really hard to just rejoin. You can't make a whole bunch of dummy Amazon accounts. You have to prove that you're actually a person or a business first before you can get on. Granted, it is not a perfect system, but geez, at least it's a system. If you really want to scam people on Amazon, you can definitely do that, but you have to be really dedicated to scamming people on Amazon. There are zero guardrails on NFTs or their marketplaces, and more importantly, that's the feature. That's not a bug. That's what they were designed to do. Once it's on the blockchain, it's on the blockchain. Any one of you watching this video could be a scammer. In fact, here's a piece I called Bored Brad's Yacht Club. He's bored because nobody wants to come to his yacht club. Screenshot that bad boy and you can mint yourself your own authentic or inauthentic NFT. While we're on this topic, I do want to shout out Deviantart. I mentioned their stats earlier, and this is not their problem. They played zero part in making this problem. And if they had done nothing, nobody would have faulted them. But what they've done over the last couple months is really impressive. They've implemented that scanning of the NFTs that I mentioned earlier, and they alert their users. And they've also made their site harder for bots to just crawl upon and steal the stuff and just run with it and download all those JPEGs. This is not a small development project. This is something that has taken them months to put into place and something they actually care about. And honestly, I'm impressed. They're putting money into solving a problem that really isn't theirs to solve. So kudos to Deviantart. Getting real data is so hard. One of those things where there's a lot of data out there and it's really easy to just go and find the data that you like and cherry pick the things out of that and go, here's my argument. I am so not qualified to figure out what numbers are real and what numbers aren't. There was this site, it's now shut down, but it was called cryptoart.wtf. What it did is it calculated the environmental cost of minting an NFT, and that cost was outrageous. On the other side, you have people who are saying, hey, 88% of crypto mining is done with green energy, and that growth in green energy is totally sustainable. These both sound like FUD to me. FUD is crypto talk for fully unsubstantiated delusion. I think that's what it means. I'm not really good with acronyms. Okay, so if the first thing is true, it feels like we would have run out of energy capacity months ago. And if the second thing was true, I don't think we would see Ethereum doing things like fast tracking their plan to switch from a POW system to a POS system. POS stands for proof of stake, not piece of stuff. But again, I'm not good with acronyms. There's one argument that I hear over and over again, and it's just, this one is a complete non-starter for me, and that is the, well, you started a fire too argument. This is the argument that says, well, everything takes electricity. You drove a car today, you turned on the lights, you're watching a YouTube video. The entire global banking system uses way more electricity. There's data centers filled with energy-hungry computers there. They own entire skyscrapers that they have to heat and cool and light. They have thousands of small bank branches all over the place with ATMs turned on and whirring 24 hours a day. And all of that is true, but why this train of thought is a complete non-starter for me is that it never takes into account the cost per transaction. What if I told you that a bus uses more gas to take you to work than a car does, and that small car is more fuel efficient? Then theoretically, from an environmental standpoint, shouldn't we be mad at buses, not cars? Okay guys, back off the comment section. This is just an example, because every person watching this knows that's ridiculous. Yes, of course, everybody knows that a bus would take more gas to get to another place, but that bus is holding 50 people. That car is holding 1, maybe 4. If it's a minivan, I guess 6. The cost per transaction is higher with the car, even though the car gets better mileage. The global banking system serves billions of people. Crypto serves millions. The footprint may be larger, but the cost per transaction is far, far lower. All right, so I am not saying that NFTs or smart contracts or crypto is all bad. But for me, personally, the bad parts about it, especially just the general scamminess of the entire thing, is a huge turnoff. So it's hard for me personally to get behind anything in that space right now. Anything that, even if it's legit, because it enters a space where it seems like the vast majority of things in that space are not legit and pretty sketchy, that legit thing looks sketchy to me. Does that make sense? This video is one of those videos where absolutely nobody's gonna be happy. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I think some people will be happy. I'm gonna get a lot of hate in the comments. I think I'm gonna get a lot of love in the comments too. And in a weird way, I kind of owe the community a thanks. There were a lot of people who unsubscribed when I did that sponsorship back in the fall. And I get that. They said, hey, you touched an NFT, you are toxic. I don't see the world in a black and white way like that. And maybe in the future, NFTs can redeem themselves. But I think the people in the community need to take these concerns seriously. And that is something I just have not seen. The people who love NFTs, and if you love NFTs, great. You're allowed to like things that other people don't like. That's fine. But if you want people like me to get back on board and be excited at all about NFTs, you can't just ignore these problems or hand wave them away or say everyone's full of FUD. I mean, maybe I am full of FUD. I have fear that I'm going to be scammed. I have uncertainty about most of these projects I see out there, and I am doubtful they will be worth anything in 5 years. I really am full of FUD. But personally, I don't think any of this uncertainty is unfounded. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. This was a long one. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.